and welcome to DIVEST. DIVEST has a clear objective: to inform parties close to the ship dismantling community, that's ship owners and ship builders, governments and non-governmental organisations, about ship recycling. DIVEST has been devised to provide clear, unbiased information on the complexities of the industry, so that the parties involved, dubbed the stakeholders, can make informed decisions. It offers education and professional development information. The work's split up into a number of areas. There's the risk assessment, the legal side, the modelling, the training, knowledge exchange, and what's become known as the decision support tool. As one of the project's luminaries, Professor Shyam Oselekar explains.
DIVEST is a consortium of the stakeholders related to ship dismantling industry in the world. It is funded by European Union under its FP7 funding scheme, and it comprises various partners. One of the objectives is to understand how the ship dismantling takes place all over the world and what are the issues associated with the risks to human beings which are involved in that activity as well as to the environment. The idea is to eventually build a risk assessment model so that based on those studies one can decide what are the priority areas for intervention in terms of developing technologies. Number two, also to develop a business model. We are going to combine the value models with the health models, with the environmental protection related issues, and that will hopefully serve as the decision support tool for the ship dismantlers all around the world. Thirdly, we also would like to develop the appropriate technologies which can be utilized by the ship dismantling sector so that their sector becomes more sustainable. And lastly, we also would like to develop the training modules. That knowledge base is being developed, those modules are being developed. So these are the objectives, overall objectives of DIVEST project.
Within DIVEST, Karen Garmer's role relates specifically to risk assessment. And as Karen explains, it's no easy task. Risk assessment demands that the employer ensures the health and safety of its employees by devising a very rigid specification for the workplace. Well, for the detail, over to Karen Garmer.
When you do a risk assessment, you have to have a group of people that do this judgment and assess the risk, and those people have to have the right competence. So the group is very essential for this judgment. The meaning is to find a simple method that the shipyards can use. So when you get a vessel into a shipyard, you have to do a specific risk assessment on that vessels, because the vessels are different, so you have to check the different risks that and hazards that can come to the different vessels.
Jens Rogger works for Germanischer Lloyd. His particular area of interest is legislation, in other words, the legal side of ship dismantling. It isn't consistent from country to country.
Because we have ship recycling appearing all over the world, in India, in China, in Europe, in the US, all these different parts of the world, and we also have different law situation in the different countries. So actually in the UK we have the same legislation as we have it in Europe, more or less. In Bangladesh they have more roughly situation which is not describing the requirements in detail. So the details are going over here in Europe, how to deal with asbestos, how to remove it, what is the qualification of the personnel, what are the circumstances to remove that. In some countries very well known how to do it, but as long as you don't have this in the framework of the law, it will be different.
Jens Rogger is also concerned with what's known as the DIVEST model. It's divided into two areas. The first relates to identifying the different risks related to the recycling process.
Within the DIVEST group we have two different points of view. The first point is to identify the risk which is coming from the recycling processes. And we have different risks in India, in Bangladesh, and in Europe, where we have more or less a dry docking situation where dismantling appears. So in each of these different places, we have different risks. This is one part of the model. The second part is the value. When it comes to the dismantling in Bangladesh and in India, you receive more money for your ship compared to Europe. Why? Because in Europe you are considering more and more cost-related factors which are not that much considered up to now in that countries.
Salim Alkanar is faced with the daunting task of acquiring and manipulating the data related to the DIVEST project. According to Salim, you simply have to create your own data.
Ship dismantling is an area which you'll find very little credible and direct data. Our job is not to standardize the way people do things. First of all, we need to learn from those people how they do things. Our function is to transfer that knowledge into a model. We have a set of models, risk models or value models and process models. One of our main deliverables is to create an integrated risk and value model which you can put your data about the risks and costs and create a decision support tool for the stakeholders. That might be ship dismantler, ship owners, anybody interested in ship dismantling activity.
Well, the man charged with disseminating the DIVEST message is TWI's David Calder.
The training within DIVEST is being delivered by the consortium. We're delivering training both for professionals, for the management of the yards and for the workforce. And the main delivery so far has been by our partners IITB in India, straight to the workforce there. Well, the industry is particularly hungry for innovation at the moment, particularly in the West, where the price competition is severe. And I happen to know that there are a couple of technologies that TWI have been working on. For example, the use of laser cutting, which has come from the nuclear decommissioning and research there, and the use of solvents for the removal of PVCs from insulation.
And for the closing word, the project's past coordinator, Jean-Christophe Saint-Geniez.
My vision is that in 10-15 years' time, we should have an industry that is safe for the people who work in it, that is safe in terms of the environment, that is to a degree uniform around the world in the way it is approached, and therefore that is not this sort of black art that is currently in most cases the case, where people have no regards for those considerations.